Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. We are here to talk about the challenge, Spies, Lies, and Allies, episode 1. And boy, oh boy, we got a hell of a premiere episode. My name is Allan, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host. We have the Southern Luke Muncie.
What's up, guys?
And the Canadian Nikki Sin.
Hello, hello, hello.
Wow, what a premiere episode of the challenge. One I'd venture to say is one of the best we've gotten in years. The editing of this episode was fantastic and fast-paced and gave us so much information, like so much that this podcast might be even longer than the episode. We apologize for that, but it was a great episode of the challenge. How did you guys feel about it?
I am so happy. I was literally about to say, please don't complain if this goes over a certain amount of time, because it was just jam-packed of all the stuff we've asked for the past several years. It had something for everybody: drama, hookups, athleticism, strategy, screw-ups, betrayal. I could keep going, but we're going to do that in this video. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's like a charcuterie board of reality TV for me. It's like we've got all the drama, we've got all the athleticism, got the hookups. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
It's good
this
for the
episode,
palate.
right? Just maybe Double Agents was just a palate cleanser.
Hey,
Yeah,
I like that.
I feel like in this episode, a lot of our problems that we complained about every week with Double Agents was solved here in episode 1 of Spies, Lies, and Allies. Ridiculous name, but great episode. We're going to just jump into, just straight into the episode because there's a lot we have to unpack, and we're going to start with the daily challenge. The prospects, the 17 prospects, the international players, all competed in a challenge where they would race off with a sledgehammer and a key, and then the first person who gets there gets to pick their partner. They have to unhook them, and then they compete in a daily challenge together. It was really funny watching the 17 international players, and then Kyle be one of them, because it was all rookies basically, and then Kyle, and then Big T, I guess Nam as well. But he just stuck out from everyone else.
Yeah, it was funny because he's like a pro at this game at this point. He's got his years in. One thing I will say, there was a special on Monday night, if anyone didn't watch it, where all the international people came to the house, realized that there were already people living there, and then got little pamphlets or folders of here's the classified information on the agents. And that was so cool because they got to make an educated decision on who they're going after. I thought it was really fun.
In Canada, if you're over here, we didn't get that till before the first episode. We thought we were all getting it on Monday. No, the walk-in was so cool. It felt like a real challenge season again. I know, the last couple of seasons have just been so, because I think it's because cold weather. I don't know. It's given me not challenge house vibes.
There was also the element of each player coming first come, first serve, where the first player to show up, you're like, oh, that person is physically impressive. They were the first player to show up. And then, whereas last season people were just randomly partnering up, and you had a partnership like Michi and Liv, where you're like, who are those people? Who versus one person encountering either a known commodity or a rookie of note. I mean, at least most of the U.S. rookies are of note. The only under the radar one completely is Cory Lay, but he already made a big statement this episode. The first partnership we saw, the first player to get to another person, was Emmanuel, and he's fast, he's good on his feet, and he picked Casey, which was one of the smartest picks you could take. They are a physically impressive pair together.
Yeah, they just look badass. My Ashley Mitchell stan heart is why not her? But I get why not her. Him and Casey together just have that chiseled, not even petite, but just smaller frame, but still built, tattooed, dark hair, badass look. I'm very much here for it.
Yeah, I feel like we were sort of expecting them to run down and be like, I'm going to go for CT, I'm going to go for Ashley, whatever. But I feel like these rookies may have done their research,
Mm-hmm. I mean, that might be why he didn't pick Ashley as well, because if you saw her on Double Agents, he just saw her in 3 episodes lose 2 eliminations, which Ashley's awesome, but if you saw that, then you're not going to think too highly of her. And you're going to think highly of Casey because she's a boss. That's a team lady killer as well, because Emmanuel, like from the special to now, that dude carries himself with so much swagger and confidence. I'm like, when I first saw photos of him, I thought too much tattoos. I'm not really into it. And now I'm just like, this guy's dope. I want to be this guy's friend.
No, I agree. I so agree.
Next player to get their partner was Kells, and he picked Tori Deal, which, I mean, Tori, she stands out. She's physically looks strong. She's tall, and he is kind of like, if you watched her Are You the One like early challenge days, that's more her type. You think of Prosper, who she like that was her immediate pairing on the first episode of Are You the One. Derrick Henry was her boyfriend on Dirty 30, and who she hooked up with first episode of Are You the One Second Chances. Kells is her type. Tall, British, dark, handsome.
Yeah, I think it makes total sense for him. He comes from a Netflix show. Like, he's probably watched this show. He knows that Tori's going to get screen time. There's going to be stories around it. Even if they're not successful, which based on the pairing, it looks like they're very strong. He knows that he's going to get an in to maybe get on some episodes, maybe some future seasons. It was incredibly smart, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it was a power move. He was like, you know what? I see a face of the challenge. I'm taking this one.
They came in third place together, very impressively. Next up, we had Kyle, and he was the first person to like make a hard choice. He saw Nany and he saw Amanda, and he's like, he's like, that's what's funny is that like our rankings actually came down like 5-6 for our bets was like Amanda and Nany like right next to each other. And it is like Nany has a higher floor than Amanda, but Amanda has a higher ceiling. And Kyle saw her connections. I do think she complements him better with the puzzles and stuff like that, whereas him and Nany are mostly the same player. I like the pairing a lot.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, like, it's weird seeing Kyle with all the international people because the majority are rookies. He's got this wealth of knowledge about these people. He knows who Amanda's built-in alliances are, even without the little portfolio they received. I think it was a smart decision. Now, I know they've had turmoil in the past. I'm sure they put it behind them, but I'd love if that sparked up a little bit, but I guess we'll have to find out.
I love this, and Amanda, Kyle. Ooh, this is, put two sticks together. It'll make fire. I'm telling you. Like, I'm ready to see all of that happen. The two of them.
I mean, I did find it funny when Kyle kept calling her the devil, and then when it came to the actual daily challenge, he was just carrying the chains that all the girls were, and Amanda was carrying the giant case that looked like a refrigerator, like a mini refrigerator, like a mini toaster oven. And she's so tiny and carrying that big old thing, and she's like, "Look, I know moms are strong, but I don't know if you see this, but all the other guys are carrying this."
It just was like typical Kyle fashion, just to be like, "Oh, okay." I loved it.
Oh well, she's got it. It's fine. Let her get it.
That's worrisome for a man with a baby on the way.
True.
Kyle's gonna be ordering a table from IKEA and make his girlfriend/wife create it.
Right. Oh, she's like going into labor, and he's like, "You got it. You're fine."
Next up, one of the more surprising picks. I mean, Nam picked Michelle Fitzgerald, and we love Michelle Fitzgerald here on this show at all times. But it was surprising because Nam is one of the few veterans, and he did not go after a veteran. I mean, good pick. I mean, it's a fun pairing. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, and maybe because Michelle even said like, I'm trying to look like Meek and like I'm not strong. Maybe that's what Nam was looking for this season after last season. But I'm with Allan. Pick a vet. Pick somebody that you know of. Pick somebody that you don't have to like relearn them. But I mean, Michelle's great. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it something wasn't calculating with that. I feel like maybe he just got like flustered in the moment, and it's the first one he went for. You know?
Yeah, and also we don't really know sometimes with the edit of who got there first, and because the next person we actually saw, like potentially the first female who got to a partner, was Lauren Coogan from Love Island. and she got to Josh Martinez. She unlocked him, and they did not give her a confessional. They mostly ignored it. I don't even know if they gave. Did they give him a graphic at all? They get a graphic.
Yes.
They gave him a graphic.
Okay.
But yeah, they ignored her, and as you'll see this season, they're gonna go on to ignore them. But the good thing about this is that we didn't have to hear a Josh confessional, and at the end of the day, we're the winners of that scenario.
1000%.
Aren't we all? Wow. Round of applause for that.
I got my phone in my hand with the list, and I'd be doing the applause right now. But
next, to the Dumbledore.
Yeah. Next up, we had Logan, who picked Anissa, and she spoke a little Spanish to him. I respected it, and as a pair, we'll talk about them later. They actually worked really well together. They communicated. Logan, I got to say, he's a little bit. I'm getting a very elitist vibe from him in the way he talks and the way he was in the episode 0 special. But he's partially elitist because he looks really good and he is like good at stuff. He's athletic. It might grind on me after time, you know.
It's already grinded. I don't know.
Graded.
It's already graded. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's already graded on me a little bit because, you know, the promo videos too, where he's like, I'm not working with Survivor people. Like, why would I do that? Because it's smart. And like you said with the edit, I'm not sure why he would pick Anissa. Like maybe her stats, like he saw the eliminations and maybe some daily wins. He was like, okay, cool. But yeah, that's all I've got to say.
I think again, it might be a thing where some of these challengers have just seen like the more recent seasons and just seen the promos or like who's been pushed, you know, player wise towards them. So he's probably like, oh, Anissa. Yeah, I'm gonna pick her. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he in the episode 0, he's like, I don't sleep with a lot of women because they aren't really good enough for me. And then I know we like to make fun of Anissa on this podcast, a healthy share, you know. We kind of like complaints about how much we do, but he calls her a grandma, and I was like, no, come on.
Okay.
I thought. I mean, he said like a grandma and did like an explanation, but even just saying it out loud, I was offended. I was like, no, that's my person. We can make fun of Anissa. You're new here. I'm not ready for you to do it.
Yeah, I was like, no. It's like, I can pick up my little brother. You can't.
Yeah, I found myself looking at TJ and being like, she's earned her stripes. She's a legend of this game. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I saying this internally? And I was. So, you know, maybe this will make me bring back some of the love I used to have for Anissa.
Would you have changed your mind if he had said it in Spanish? Anissa is mi abuelita.
I would have changed my mind just after having to remember my 9th grade Spanish class of what that meant. But yeah. That almost feels worse, but anyways.
Oh, man. And then next up, Huey, one of the last males on the international side to get a partner. I mean, he gets Ashley, and they don't perform well together because they're both talkative people. They give direction. And it was just a mess. I will say, Huey did know he boxed for 7 years. We didn't know that. I think his cardio might be decent because boxers have good cardio.
Oh.
Yeah, he got to Ashley and like she was like, quit talking. Like we're in the middle of a daily challenge. But I think that's just him. And like I've said, as an Ashley fan, that might bother me because I'm like, oh gosh, my favorite. But it'll definitely be entertaining if anything. And yeah, cardio is probably great, except for, might we remind you, he just recently had a BBL. That's going to impede some of his success.
I don't know. Maybe Ashley can give him some tips. I mean,
maybe it'll help with momentum. Like he'll just.
Ashley got her boobs done, and then did the show like not too soon after.
She also quit that season. Like.
Well within her right.
Exactly.
Good for her.
Day one. I mean, no, I'm just saying. But like, she just left day one. But we had a race for a guy between Bettina and Priscilla, and I think Priscilla got there first, but Bettina found the guy first, and that is Mr. Cory Warden. She was like, they were both yelling like, "Where's Cory? Where's Cory?" Like, and good for Cory, man. You're being vied for by these rookie females. I mean, He's made 2 straight finals, 2nd place, 3rd place in back-to-back seasons. One of the faces of the show.
Yeah. And might I add, Bettina already just like standing her, and I don't stand anybody. This wasn't this episode, but I have to say, like in the special that aired Monday, episode 0, her laugh is infectious in a way that like
it's endearingly bad.
Yes. Like I love her for that. Simply like if she never had a confessional aside from just laughing, bliss.
I'm gonna make a song out of her laugh.
EDM?
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna Burning Man 2022.
It's gonna be a banger.
It's gonna be just.
There's probably some Swedish DJs with some like sick tracks you've never heard of. Oh, it's gonna be lit. Oh man.
Oh. No, I'll do it.
I'll say this about Bettina. In pictures, her proportions make it seem like she might not be able to keep up when it comes to running, things like that. She's very big chested, but she was keeping up. She even said like, I'm 5'2", but like I'm in it to do this. And I want to note too, like her English is like immaculate. I was a little bit shocked.
Whenever she opens a sentence, it sounds like she's from North Dakota, and then it slowly turns into Swedish. But I agree. Yeah, that was a big takeaway I had. Big chested, but big heart to pump a lot of blood for her cardio. Good sprinter, and the attention of the male as well, because But yeah, that laugh, man, it's just so bad that it's good. And even her, when she got Cory, she threw up the peace sign, so happy, and she just shows so much liveliness. I'm like, that gives my brain like good feelings, good vibes. I really enjoy Bettina.
Yeah. Yeah, she had like just good vibes all around, just spread them out already.
That might have been the only thing she said in confessional, but I love her. I just love this girl. And Priscilla, after not getting Cory, she's like, well, let's get a young buck number 2. Let's go to Nelson. Nelson, where are you? And Nelson's like, I'm right here. And I want to say they, in the daily challenge, Nelson cracked their thing and they didn't have the combination. They finished somehow. I think someone told them the code because they were Nelson's friend. But when they were back at the house, you could see them working out, sprinting up hills together. So I think that's going to be a very physically impressive duo.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I had to crack up because like it didn't even seem like the segment was edited. It could have been. I could be wrong, but it was almost like as soon as she realized Cory's gone, okay, Nelson's my number 2. Like she'd been running up to that place in her head, running through her options. But yeah, I'm excited. They both. I mean, we know that Nelson's fit and Allan for sure, and we've added on to the comment that like Priscilla looks buff. Like this is going to be a really exciting pair.
Yeah, it wasn't surprising for me for the two of them to pair up. I think it's gonna be really exciting to see how they work together.
On paper, that's like the duo you don't want to face in a pole wrestle. That's like you don't want that's like you face them in a pole wrestle, you're going home. After that, we had Gabo getting Nany, and he picked her because she was hot. And I gotta say, Gabo stinks. Gabo, get this guy out of here. I just can't take him.
My opinion is so different. I literally like him so much because he just is like funny in a way that's he's not even trying to be. It's just because he's kind of like dumb. But like on the special, he was like, this looks like a porn mansion. Well, he would know that because he's done porn before. And then he was like, I feel like I'm on, or he's on Warsaw Shore. He's like, it's like the Jersey Shore I like to, and he couldn't even remember what GTL was. Like he got G and T, but couldn't remember L.
Funny.
And he's just as like, so just like, I picked you because you're pretty. And I'm like, huh. So maybe I'm alone on this, but I thought he was funny.
I mean, he's got, at least it wasn't lying. He's like, yep, nope, pick Nany. She's hot.
He did say he had popcorn muscles.
That's what I was trying to remember. Yes.
I'm so happy that he said it.
That is the one thing that when he said that, I was like, thank you for admitting this. Because some people were like, oh no, like I'm so strong, I'm so tough. He does it for an aesthetic, and good for him for admitting it. And he's all about aesthetic because there's Nany.
I feel like he's gonna get taken down a lot of pegs here on this show.
I think he's gonna win.
I don't know. I feel like you're laughing at him rather than laughing with him. It's like Bettina. It's like she does some like we're laughing with Bettina's laugh. We're laughing at Gabo. That's a huge difference, I feel like.
That's true. That's true. I'm also laughing at Bettina, though. I'm sorry, Bettina.
As long as I'm gonna say it every time, as long as he does not get the Dragon Ball Z edit, we're good. We're good.
Oh no, he's not good enough to get the Dragon Ball Z edit. Popcorn muscles don't get Dragon Ball Z edits. Next up, we had Renan Renan. I learned his name was Renan and instead of Renan in today's episode, and I won't need that information for long. He takes Michaela as a partner, and that's no surprise because Michaela is one of the female rookies. Not a lot of information on them.
Yeah, I mean, for me and for us that have watched Survivor, like it's a good choice, like on paper.
Yeah. I feel like he, given his show backgrounds, he didn't really have a lot to go with anyways.
He did not have a choice. That is important to note. Next up, we had Emmy picking Cory Lay, and that was another situation of, I think, someone just picking the first guy they saw. Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, that took me by surprise. Not because like I'm like, oh, I just would have never expected that, but I guess desperation breeds more desperation. Not that they're not both like incredibly fit. Like in my head, I just would have never been like, oh, they're going to gravitate towards one another.
Yeah, because I just don't see them meshing. Like it feels like they wouldn't vibe.
Next up, Berna found a hiding CT. Almost like he was a Pokemon in the tall grass, like a legendary, and she got him as her partner, and that is a scary duo because Berna is athletic and CT is pretty good at the challenge.
I don't buy it for a second that she was that far behind. Like whenever they gave out the information on them, like people are like, oh my gosh, CT's the person to gun for. We want him. And like, yes, it's cute to like play it up and be like, he's hiding because he wants to make the choice. No, those girls that are running up are looking for CT. I'm sorry. Like, you can't tell me that Josh was chose before CT just because, like, oh, he's funny. He's a goof. No, like, CT is the obvious choice. So, like, haha, production, like, you got us. Or maybe I'm wrong, but, like, there's no way he was picked that late in the game.
Maybe.
He was on the farthest blocks. I will say that. He was, like, the farthest blocks away. Him and Tommy were like the farthest away from people. So we talk about how Emmy just picking Cory because Cory was actually very close to them. He was like one of the first players on the rocks, and I think Michelle Fitzgerald too when Nat picked her, like just first come first serve. So maybe that's part of it. But I agree with you. There's a very realistic chance that Berna might have been the first person to get there, and she took CT because why would you not take CT? Because he's CT, and she reveals to CT later on, who's like very impressed when he finds out she's trained in acrobatics. And considering we have Fessy, we have Josh, we have Tori, she's used to being around clowns at the circus.
Very true. Very true.
So as we were saying, Berna and CT are a pair. If this sounds weird in the video/podcast, it's because my Wi-Fi cut out as I was making my hilarious joke about Berna being used to being at the circus because now she's competing with Josh and Fessy and all the other clowns. They are a pair this season that people are going to have to be afraid of, and maybe they got to split them up any way they can. After that, Fessy took Esther took Fessy, and she saw him as like big, athletic, going to be a good pair. And then by the end of the episode, she's like, oh no, he's messy.
Yeah, messy Fessy. I like Esther. Like her confessionals already, I'm just like, okay, she's got her finger on some of this stuff. But yeah, poor girl. I hope, well, not I hope, it's already done. I wish she could have done some more research or got there sooner because Fessy's not a great partner. Like he's very strong, but partnership's not his strength.
Well, hopefully she'll be able to, get rid of him as a partner.
Yeah, true.
Pretty quickly.
I agree, though. Her finger is on the pulse when other, female players and rookies were, like, trying to make some moves. She's like, no. You got to play it cool first. Watch, listen, and then you make your move. And when she talked about Tatcha, she's like, yeah, Tatcha is my friend. We did our same show together, but me and Tatcha are way different people. I'm going to be allied with Tatcha until it matters for me. Esther is very cognitive of everything around her.
Smart.
And Fessy was very impressed by her too, because she was really hustling in the daily challenge. And I not to be like too thirsty either, like when he was like the best part about Esther and they pan in behind them as they're running. Esther's got a crazy good body. Oh my god, she's gorgeous. Like she's the full package on this show.
Yeah, she's beautiful. And I think Fessy learned from his mistakes of last season. Definitely like watching it back. I've got to be more supportive of the women that I'm with because I'm coming off as an egotistical maniac, which he still is, but yeah.
But like maybe it humbled him.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, also it is important to note that Fessy noted on the casting special that it's Ramadan season as he's filming the newest season, and he can't eat during the daytime. You know, from sun up to sundown. He can't eat during that portion, so his emotions for a big guy like that who probably eats, a healthy amount of calories a day, his emotions might not be fully in check. I mean, we've all been hangry at one point or another.
Yeah, and I
boy.
really do respect him for staying devout in his beliefs because it'd be so easy to be like, well, there's an exception. I'm filming this show, but it makes me very happy and respect him an ounce that he's sticking to his truth.
And that he told us like straightforward up front. And that was like last season whenever there were certain issues. Like I hate when people after the fact tell us, where it's like he was upfront about like, no, this is what's going on with me. It's a bit of a struggle, but I stay very loyal to my religion, and it's very respectable. The the next pairing that I don't think got a confessional was Tracy and Devin, and Devin was just kind of like, all right, let's get this daily challenge done.
He did not look pleased, and I can't lie, I wouldn't be pleased either. She seems like a super sweet girl, but like she's very frail. I don't even want to say skinny, she's frail.
Yeah. Didn't see a lot of challenger in her.
Like if they ever do pole wrestle, they're calling her down there to be the pole.
She's the pole.
If Anissa wants to entertain one night, they're calling her to the middle of the dance floor. Anissa's using her as a pole.
We could have Jasmine come back.
If only.
What an iconic moment.
Next up, we had Big T, who kind of a bad showing for her. I mean, as a vet, yeah, I mean, she gets Tommy. And Tommy was actually, I think, we haven't been too high on him on our preseason videos, but I actually really like that he was respectful and understood that, like, hey, she's not the most athletic, but people love this girl. Like, because he's a fan of the show. He understood, like, her social game's fantastic, and it's going to carry me for a decent portion. So, shout out to Tommy for at least knowing that.
Yeah, super smart. And no, it was not a good showing for Big T. It was embarrassing, to be honest, especially after, like, she made the comments last season about, like, not being taken seriously. But in the same sense, Big T also knows she's incredibly likable and can work the vets that she's there with. Like, she probably thought, whoever I get, I'm going to be fine with. Now, did she expect to get an American rookie? Probably not. But I feel like it's going to work out fine for both of them.
Yeah, I feel like, the teacher did his homework. Tommy was like, Big T's political game, much better than her physical game, we'll say. I think they might be an actually interesting pair.
Yeah, it so works to Tommy's benefit because he's one of the Americans that got a vet as a partner. Like,
yeah,
like I know that Michelle did as well, but like we find out Nom's fate later, and then Michaela didn't. Like he got Big T. It's huge.
Good pairing. And also, this is one of those things that we know wasn't edited. Like, Big T didn't come in second place. And Big Tommy, she was definitely like, there's only two choices or one choice, and I'm getting Tommy. And then the last pair we see is Tatcha and Jeremiah. I hope Tatcha finished better than this because, you don't want to come in last out of 17 people. That's a lot of people to come in last out of. When it comes to just the race element of the game, Jeremiah did not get any shine in this moment. Obviously the shine is always going to go on to Tatcha, but even she said, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to really listen to my male partners. I'm a strong, dominant personality, which is badass to say, but also, like, For the men in the games, like, is that the most optimal partner? I don't know.
Probably not. Jeremiah though, like, yeah, the shine wasn't on him. Great partner, I'd feel. Like, seems very athletic. He's tall, strong. You know, although she came in last, like that's definitely not the worst guy there she could have ended up with.
The rookies like him. Like when they were working out at the gym, the rookies, he doesn't have like the target that Kels will have by just like outwardly showing a lot, whereas he can just kind of stick in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he was like a consolation prize. Like, he's a great partner.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and well, of these 17 players, one team came in first place, and it was Logan and Anisa. Logan seemed to be the one who took the lead on solving the math because he was the one putting in the code or solving the code. And yeah, I mean, Anisa has historically bad daily challenge stats, but has won the first daily challenge in 3 out of her last 4 seasons, which is just something funny. I don't know how it happens every time, but Anisa just kills these first daily challenges.
And you know, I thought about this while watching it. Maybe she just is like, it is so uncertain what this game is going to be. So like, let me at least give myself safety week 1, or it might just be pure coincidence. But nonetheless, it's impressive to me.
Honestly, good for her.
We love her here. We love her.
No, I'll be honest. In my opinion, I kind of dislike it because I'm like, oh, she's gonna win this first daily challenge and then write it like for the rest of the season. As like, look at me, I came in first place out of all these females. Like after all these years, you know, I still got it. And then when she like DQs in a challenge in like 12 seconds, you know, that's what's gonna happen. But I mean, good for Anissa, good for Logan. I mean, a rookie male getting the win first here is big. Second place was the team of Michaela and Renan. And if that run from when they decoded the puzzle and got the gem and got to the finish line was a bit longer, I think they could have won the daily challenge because we all know Anissa's cardio is not good. I mean, honestly, even if Tori and Kels, who were the third place team, if it had been like one more mile, I think those two teams could have won the daily challenge and would have just drastically changed how this whole episode played out and the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're listening to this because you've already watched the episode, you know what happened. So I'm not going to say it exactly yet, but unbiased, not knowing anything while watching the episode, whenever Michaela and Renan came in second, I was like, oh, you're a rookie pair. This is going to make you look like a threat. And it made me so anxious.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if this is the best idea for them.
Yeah, like definitely don't get last, but maybe not get second place. I don't know.
Like 6th?
I think. I mean, at that time, they probably thought they had a chance to win, and then the run ended up being very short. The run from the decode to the finish line. If it had been longer, I really do think they could have won. The only other important teams to really note is that Ashley and Huey came in last place, and they thought they'd get purged for a second. It was a mess. Who was the team who came in second to last?
Nani and Gabo. Gabo.
Yeah, the guy stinks.
Nabo?
Yeah, whatever they are. I love that Nani kept her cool. Like, that's such a Nani thing to just be like, it's okay. Like, let's relax. But yeah, the dysfunction of Ashley and Huey, my heart was like just beating so fast. Like, please don't let this happen. And yeah, Ashley blew up unnecessarily. I'll fully say that. But like, Huey, you are not the vet here. You are not the 2-time champ. Shut up and let her figure it out. And he kept like putting the code in and it locked them out, of course. And she's like, just stop and stop talking to me. And he's like, we're not going to get through this by like you getting mad at me. And then he got mad at her. And I'm like, this is such chaos, but great TV.
It's so good. It's like like good food or like those ready-made meals that are like sent to you. We got all the ingredients. Everything is just here for us.
I know.
So perfect.
The icing on the cake, or I guess the salt on the pre-made food, was just that, as they're running to the finish line, like they're both pissed. Ashley's helmet's off, like she's trying to chuck it as she's done before. And he's like, I'm not going home first. And she's like, bro, we're going to get purged. And he was like, that's fine, but I'm not going home first. She's like, we're going to get purged. She's like, what's that mean? And she's like, that we're going home first. Like, what's the disconnect here? But yeah, it was just.
They were so funny.
And like Allan said, they thought they're going home. TJ's like, I don't know the specific words, but he was like, here on the challenge, if you get last, you know what that means, Ashley and Huey. And she's like, great, I always get screwed over, which she often does. I mean, not always. She's won 2 seasons, obviously, but she often does. And then he's like, it just means you're not going to get last again. Wipe the sweat from my brow.
Which, important to note, I don't know why we had 17 place finishers and no punishment for last place. I love Ashley, but like, what was the point of that? I just
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it gave everyone like a view of how everyone else was doing in the challenge, but still, I like when there are stakes, and I don't like when last place doesn't get a punishment at all.
Yeah, because if that's how the rest of the season, is set up, I mean, who cares if you get second or 17th or 16th? Like, what's the difference?
I was hoping it would be like last place goes straight into eliminations.
Yeah.
Same. Even though I love Ashley and she would have left with Huey, I feel. But like, I love that format.
I at least liked when they did War of the Worlds 1 where top 3 got, immunity or power, because then teams were at least vying to be in third place, and that way you had a chance to still compete. I don't like it when people just phone it in and give up, especially with this format. It might allow for a lot of people giving up, and that ends our daily challenge portion. Logan and Anisa get the win, and we're gonna move into the romance portion and the drama portion of the game. Switching over into the drama, romance, hookup portion of the episode, and last season on Double Agents, we complained about the lack of hookups. All we had was Fessy's endless number of blondes. We had a Mechi and Amber storyline that was never showed on TV. We got nothing. We were served very little showmance and hookups. This episode, we had 3 makeouts and 2 hinted at showmances that could be developing. And we're going to kick off with Ashley and Nelson, where Nelson is all booed up with her. He's got her in his arms. And he explains, yeah, Ashley moved to Austin. I live down the street from her. We are casual friends with benefits. As someone who would watch them on social media together on their Instagram stories, I thought this for a long time, and now they're just saying it openly and honestly. And Amanda had the best reaction to it because she's like, oh my God, my 2 explosively emotional best friends are hooking up, and this could just lead to the biggest explosion of all time.
Love and love. I'm like Allan, like I'd seen them on social media. I knew that Ashley had moved down there. It was just obvious that there was something more than just like, oh, we're co-stars on a show. Uh, I have no doubt that it's going to be explosive, just like Amanda is predicting or trying not to happen. But I'm still here for it. Like, I like when we have well-known vets hooking up with one another because there are so many deep layers to that. Like, Amanda said, oh, these are my besties. But like, Ashley's her real life challenge best friend. Nelson's from her Are You the One season. They were rivals, partners, become best friends. Like, she's got a lot of stake in this as well that could really go left, right, and everywhere except for good.
Yeah, and Ashley has never disappointed when it comes to a challenge romance, showmance. There's never been crumbs of anything. It's always been a full, like a buffet, an entree of what's happening. I know this is going to be good, and I know, someone else is probably going to flirt with someone else.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some wine, and there's going to be some misunderstandings, and I'm gonna eat all of it up. Like,
I gotta say, Ashley looked really good in her dress too, as Nelson was hugging her all over the place.
Amazing.
I mean, the girls were popping out. It was fantastic. And there, it was a fun to watch. And this could end. It could only end in a mess. This isn't gonna end good. There's no way this could end well. But
I do want to say I also love that there's like a friends with benefits thing that's just like, they're like, yeah, this is cool. This happens because it does.
Hardly ever works. Somebody always gets the feels, and I feel it'll be my girl Ashley.
Me too.
Oh man, I love it. I love this show so much. Especially, I agree with Luke. They've been part of my life for so long. I'm glad they're finally doing it, but it's not going to end well. This is like when a sitcom, when you finally pair up two characters, and then like the sitcom writer's like, yeah, this isn't working out for 8 episodes.
If they even make it 8 episodes together, like, yeah, it's not great.
Might be pushing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right after we saw Casey and Nani, where, oh man, real smooth. Like, Nani's asked a question, is it by Kyle? I think, like, would you be with her? She's like, yeah, I'd feel comfortable with her. And then Casey in her confessionals is blushing about Nani, and yeah, they look really good together. They look fantastic together.
Yeah, I can't remember if this is from tonight's episode or the special, forgive me, but I really liked how, Nani, we've seen her life since she's 21 years old. Like, she says, I've obviously dated lots of guys. I've hooked up with girls. We've even seen it on The Real World. She's like, and I don't care, but I've never had feelings for a female this way. She's like, but I just feel safe with Casey. And like, my heart was fluttering for her. I was like, this is amazing, because if there's one thing Nani deserves, it's love. So that's very sweet and endearing. I'll take it to a non-endearing place, though. They were definitely fooling around on Total Madness, and if not, Double Agents. Sorry to Casey's ex-girlfriend, but like, come on now. We saw tidbits of it on Total Madness, Under the Blanket, and just whatever. But I'm glad that they're both single, and it doesn't have to be this taboo thing of like, we can't do this because a camera might find us or because any other outside reason. They can just be.
I'm so team Casey and Nani. This is, I like 1000% agree with everything you just said, Luke. Like, watching Nani like grow as a person, and all her relationships, and be so like raw and out there about her sexuality. It's so beautiful, and they seem really happy.
And I have to add, like, Nikki and I said previously, like, we're giving lots of people new chances, like a second chance. I'm giving Casey the biggest second chance. If you listen to this last season, our podcast, you'll know that we're giving her some credit, Casey. Even her confessionals just seem more lighthearted and happy, and like, she squealed like a little.
Yeah.
I was like, we're getting real emotions out of her. Like, this is perfect. So yeah, like, I'm team Nancy all the way.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Yes.
As Casey was showing emotion, someone out there was like, write that down. She showed growth. But
edit a tear. Yeah.
So cute.
I did like that Casey went for a drink of beer, and then Nani immediately brought her in for a kiss, and then Casey went for the neck, and it was just like, oh wow, that's at the scene. That looks kind of cool. And I do agree with Luke. Like my friend the other day was like, "So you're a hardcore Casey and Nani stan? Like as a couple?" I'm like, "Always have been since Total Badness. I just don't know why they ever pretended like it wasn't going to be a thing. They have so much
Right.
chemistry together." And talking about a couple that has chemistry to one that has no chemistry other than physical, and that is Amanda and Fessy, and it's the best thing to ever happen to Fessy, and it's the best thing to ever happen to us, the fans, because last season we just kept complaining about Fessy trying to flirt with Gabby, where it's like, "Oh, I'm an introvert. Oh, I'm more than what people think." Da 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 da. And it's just like, dude, just kiss. She doesn't care about you. Just kiss and get it over with. And Amanda was just straight up like, "You're annoying, but kiss me because I am physically attracted to you."
The layers this has, it's insane. Like scenes before, she's telling Nelson like, watching last season, I was so upset for you, like, horrible. And then it just flashes to her making out with like public sworn enemy number one, and she's literally like, "I'm kissing you to shut you up," which we know it's because she thinks he's hot. Like if you look at Amanda's old tweets during Fessy season of Big Brother, she's like, "Hey, break up with Haley and get with me," which is hilarious to me, by the way. But I'm here for it. She's not blonde. Like that's a huge thing for Fessy. This might be his season of growth, as we've said.
Oh my god, is this our season of growth too?
I hope not.
No, we're still crapping on Fessy as a whole. And someone pointed out to me recently that there are no blondes on this season other than Tori, and Tori's distancing herself from Fessy. And my brain exploded when I got that information. I was like, "Wait, really?" And then yeah, they're actually right.
Which might I add while we said it, I'll just say it briefly. Again, don't remember it from this episode of the special, but it happened. Tori expressed, she verbatim said, "I effed Fessy."
Oh
Okay?
yeah.
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 On the reunion, she beat around the bush and was like, we were friends, whatever. She's like, "No, I did. I'll cop to it." So yeah, Allan's exactly right. Like there's a blonde there, but he's been there, done that. So.
And she told me in her interview that she just tried to stay away from him for storyline purposes. And similarly, like Fessy is Amanda's type. She's always like the tall, dark, and handsome. Even though she's always dated pretty boys, whenever she's done like her interviews, like she's always said like people like JP and Allan from War of the Worlds. She's like, "Oh, those guys are hot." Like that's like she likes a tall, dark Latin type, and yeah, she's living her dream right now. And she even like Cory sees her and she's like, "Oh man, we gotta tell Nelson now because he was gonna keep it a secret." And Cory with the ultimate dad, like just stepping out onto the balcony for no reason whatsoever. Like it didn't seem like anyone else was there. Just Cory just just catching them in the act.
Yeah, I love the dynamic. Like this is a little off and I'll get right back on. I love the two young bucks with the two lavender ladies and just like all the intertwined, just like it's so good for my soul. But yeah, back to the hookups.
No, I'm so into it. I think that Fessy and Amanda are a really good match. Is that weird to say?
I think that he's somebody he doesn't need a timid girl who's going to be like, "Oh, Fessy, like I'm shy." He needs somebody to be like, "Shut up. Yeah. You're an idiot. You're being cocky. Like this needs to stop." And that's her. And if you keep up with them on social media, like they definitely still hang out. So
I think for us, the fans, Amanda is the perfect partner for Fessy, but she's definitely not what he actively seeks out, but he's just so attracted to her because how could you not be, that it just is a perfect pairing. And we have to talk about the drama portion with Fessy and Nelson, where Fessy, I mean, he's like, "I owe you one. I owe you two. You don't have to trust me." And then Nelson's like, yeah, you're never going to be a brother to me again, which he should not accept. And I love that Nelson is showing that fiery nature. And I love that Nelson was also like, "Yo, Amanda, I love you. You can do whatever you want." But also that's not going to, like, me and him is not going to happen. But that just showed growth, that they could be so close, those two individuals, and also let them do their own thing.
Yeah. And I think part of that too is he's also like, "I'm boning your best friend, so I really can't say much." But you said like, we can't be brothers, maybe brothers-in-law because Amanda's his sister. And not to take it back to the hookup thing, but I have to real quick. Like you said, Fessy's not great for Amanda. He's definitely not stepdad material. Okay, can't be trusted. Like whatever. But back to Nelson. Sorry for that slight tangent. I'm so glad he stood his ground because it would have been so easy to be like, "Bro, we're good." Like it was a spur of the moment decision. Like, but he didn't. Like that was wrong what he did. And they showed a flashback and you got a glimpse of it. But if you recall back to Double Agents, like not only did Fessy call down Nelson, he was extremely dirty in that elimination, like trying to take his helmet off, like putting his fingers in his visor. Like it was a little, well, it wasn't a little gross. It was gross. So I'm really happy that Nelson is bucking up.
Young bucking up.
Yeah.
He stood his ground.
That's so bad, but I love it.
I love a good pun. No, I'm proud of Nelson for just being like, no, you did me dirty, and I don't have to forgive you.
Yeah.
I also like that the film editing of it made Fessy look really giant and Nelson, who's like 5'8", look really small. So it's like, yeah, he did do you dirty because like look at how big you are, look at how small he is. Nelson's a beast, but just the height difference alone. After that, we had not after that, but we also had other showmat stuff. Kels and Tori being a bit flirty, giving her a little forehead kiss. As we mentioned, he's her type. Kel seems into it. Fun pairing.
Yeah, like them being partners scares me a little bit because that could cause some chaos. And I'm down for people doing whatever they want to do, but part of me is also like, I really want Tori to have a season where she's just single, where she literally is like game oriented. And it's too soon to jump the gun and be like, oh my God, they're gonna fall in love and get engaged and break up after 3 years. It's not that, but I kind of just hope that fizzles out for our sake, her sake.
They can have a fun summer fling,
Yeah.
And that can be it. Yeah. I'm fine with that. I'm also super into Emmanuel and Michelle.
Ooh, spicy.
Yep. And they didn't even actually interact this episode. They were just sharing glances across the room, and it's like, and that's hot. Like, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and Michelle and I think it was Logan's birthday party. Like, Michelle gives the confession of like where she's like, game, boy, game, hot boy, look at the road. It's so funny, but like Michelle, I can't remember if she said it during promo. She said it at some point, so just take my word for it. She loves reality TV men, which she's dated several and good for her. But the glance that she gave him, I was like, I, in this moment, understand Michelle Fitzgerald's game, not the challenge game or survivor game, her like game. It was look down, look up, look down, look up, look away. I thought, ooh, she saw that somewhere. It was so good.
It just, I've always thought Michelle's beautiful, and then I watch on the challenge, and then she's even prettier. I mean, I know she's living on an island for 39 days, so maybe, there is the idea of being island hot, but you only have one outfit. Her makeup, her eyes, her outfits, oh my God, they're so form-fitting. She looks stylish, she's hot, and she's intelligent, well-spoken, total package.
Yeah, she said in an article recently, it was from this week even, Survivor's obviously her show. Like, she loves it. Of course, she's won. She's never been eliminated or voted out, I should say. Like, with those type of accolades, like, yeah, that's your show. But she's like, my type of show is the challenge. I can eat. I can put on makeup. I can shower. I can, get down and dirty. So, yeah, I hope this progresses into something more because we love Michelle here.
I want to see more of her on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's such a like all my doubts of her, and then watching her in the trailers and everything and all her promos, she's just switched it up in a good way. It's like some of the classic elements are there, but the cutthroat nature that I wasn't sure that she had, she totally has, and it's dope as hell to watch. Oh my God. Oh man, the two are gonna be interesting. And we can throw that into the, it's not a hookup or drama, but Logan and Michelle had a birthday party. Devin brought her a cake in his little Speedo, which was one of the weirdest parts of the episode. But I gotta say, it looked like everyone in the house was having a lot of fun, and like it turned it around for me from like Devin in the Speedo is weird to like, okay, this looks like a classic challenge house and what we've been missing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The takeaways I have are so profound. The fact that Anissa was like, no, we're going to do this. Love that about Anissa. Like, she might not be my favorite on the show, but we said it before. I could go bar hopping with her and probably have a fun time. And it was such a strange moment for me as a viewer to sit there and they're all crowded around the table. And the person that gave the toast was Anissa. You know, we've had many seasons of Johnny Bananas. Like, you might have even had a Kyle or a CT do it, but Anissa did it. And it felt totally fine to me. I loved it. And my last takeaway, then I'll shut up. Devin stripping, you get that cutaway of Michelle standing there, and like you just see something black hit her face, and she's like fall down, and she's like, it's a sock, but it was just like the funniest moment. Like, if you DVR'd it, have it still recorded, like please go back and watch it. Like, her expression's hilarious.
It was no, and these are such like great moments on the challenge that I like treasure. When I watch them, like I value these moments because that's what makes a challenge house a challenge house. It's stuff like this. It's like when they have like the theme parties, when they do like, you know, we're gonna start talking about the list. It's a real Laurel move, you know. Like, I have such high hopes for the season, and now I really hope they don't get crushed. Like real soon.
I also got to say, like, Devin looked better once he actually took off the suit jacket. Because I remember, like, the look of him from the side on was not a good look. I thought, like, Devin, did you put on some pounds? And they take it off. It's like, oh, no, he's actually in better shape than he was last season. So, you know, shows how much, got in better shape through taking off clothes. So good for him. And that ends the hookup/drama portion, which will be pretty healthy this season. Sometimes we talk about it last season, and it would only be for, like, 5 minutes. No, it's going to be a lot this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got more hookups, more drama to come. Switching over to gameplay and politics, which, again, there was a plethora of this episode. Switching over to the politics portion now, and man, we had a lot of gameplay. Logan and Anisa were the power team, and then there was a house vote where everyone had to decide one pair to go directly into elimination via a house vote. The Veteran Alliance gets together, and when I say the Veteran Alliance, it's Ashley and Amanda, who are really trying to push things forward and keep the people together. They go to Devin, they go to Josh, like, so Devin, like, what are we doing? Because they do this thing where they ask other people what they're doing in order to push their agenda.
Yeah, so smart on Amanda's part. She's clearly watched the last couple seasons that she's not taken part in. She's like, this does not work for the vets to like go after each other. Like, and I think Nani's one that said like an alum of this show needs to win this. Like, it just makes sense for them to work together. And I like how they don't even call it an alliance. They call it a truce, as in like, I might not like you at all. And they're not going to say this on TV, and they might have said it in confessionals. They'll never show it. But they're like, we're not going to get replaced by these obscure international rookies. Like, we're not letting the show get taken over by people that are not us. So it makes total sense for them. For the viewers, it even makes sense because we know and love these people. And even if you don't love them, you love to hate them. I'm so down for it.
I also think it's interesting that this truce, this not alliance, this truce, has been put together with all the vets, because the team in power is like a solid vet with Anissa, and then a brand new person with Logan. So like whoever they would want to put up could really counteract theirs, the power teams.
Yeah, I feel like Anissa really sold it to him though, and it was done so effortlessly. She was just like these are my friends that I've known forever, and I know you don't know them, but they're also going to help you out if you help me out, which is probably not even true, but it's all shade to tell someone with a huge ego, and it looks like he has one. So
what's so funny about that to me is that like Anissa should not be trusting these veterans because they're gonna, they actually don't care about her. She calls them her friends. It's like, nah, dude, this is why you lose every season. Like, you should make a big move here if you can. And it's smart on Amanda and Ashley because They ran the game on Invasion together. They saw the opportunity when people weren't really sure of what they're capable of, and because Amanda hasn't been on the show in a while, and because Ashley has a few early exits, this is their shot. And they're also employing their same strategy from Invasion, where Ashley used Hunter and Amanda used Nelson. This time it's Ashley using Nelson, and Amanda's using Fessy. And they got the Cory number as well. They got some other numbers with Big Brother. They know how to spread their rhetoric, and they used meat shields to massive effect on that season. Whether it was Anika, Latoya, Marie, Sylvia. I know Sylvia's a Lavender Lady, but she's this Lavender Lady meat shield. That's what she is to them. They throw her into elimination time and time again and keep themselves safe. And it could be deadly this season if they can get rolling.
I agree. And Meat Shield, huge. One thing they didn't have on Invasion, because she was on a hiatus, it was in the casting special, so forgive me for talking about it, but Nany literally said, like, I'm so happy on a season working with both of you. And Ashley, we've never really worked on the same side. We're doing it. Like, we're doing it this season. Like, I love you, girl, like, whatever. Nany has just such a presence about her. I always talk about it. I've probably said it way too much at this point, but people love her. She's genuine. She's got the Big Brother Alliance through Casey. Obviously, Amanda and Ashley have the meat shields who bring in Cory and Big Brother as well. But Nany has Anissa and Tori and really any other vet and possibly rookie they could want. Nany can make that connection.
Nany's just got this presence about her that people just naturally gravitate toward. And that's going to be so important for this alliance. Sorry, this truce. Not this alliance. It's truce.
Yeah, Nany has Casey, and man, altogether, it's a good mix. The reason why Ashley and Nany are working together this season is because of Amanda. Because Nany trusts Amanda's headfast loyalty. Because she's not gonna lie to you. She's gonna play the game straight, and because of that, she can trust Ashley. In other seasons, those two have always had, they've thrown some shady comments at each other. I interviewed Nany, and I feel like I interviewed Ashley, and a couple of her comments felt like backhanded comments about Nany. She's like, they're going to be together this season, but if Amanda falls out of the equation, then that could blow up. That is the problem in that scenario. Yeah.
I will say, as the Ashley superfan who analyzes all this stuff, they did have their moment on Total Madness where it was like them against Bear and Maddie. And then last season, Double Agents, they really weren't actively working against one another. And I think the shared dislike for Teresa definitely helped bond them. And you bring in Amanda, who is just like friends with both of them. And it's like, oh, this is good. And I will say this too. Sorry to keep flashing back to previous seasons, but there was this really iconic picture to me before they departed for World of Worlds 1. And it was the three of them. And I really feel like that season they would have worked together and been very anti-Kara. But of course, Ashley was first boot. But that's my little Ashley Nany history lesson. I'll digress.
And I also really like this alliance so much more. Sorry, this truce so much more for Nany than the Holy Trinity. As much as I like, Jenna wasn't helping her game ever.
No, neither is Kayla. It just puts them as people they could throw in elimination against one another.
Yeah.
Plus, Nany's like decent physically, whereas Amanda and Ashley have mental games that complement her well. It just, Jenna, Nany, and Kayla is three different versions of the same player, one worse than another. I'm not going to say who in certain aspects, but yeah, this is a complementary trio.
I like this unholy trinity.
That's Ooh! Oh
right
my
now.
God! Oh God damn! That's
Pointing
so good.
It.
Yeah.
Some screenshots. You can tweet that later.
That's so good. Ooh, this is gonna pop the podcast ratings so well. Viewership's going up. People are, oh yeah, okay, all right.
You're welcome, ladies.
But what's key to say is that in their conversations with Devin, with other people, they agreed we're gonna do a double rookie team against a double rookie team, which is mathematically the best way to get rid of two rookies, which is their goal. And through that, once they hear the rumor of Michaela's list, because they were already going to go for a double rookie team. That was already going to happen, but that just snowballed into Michaela and Renan having a reasoning for why they were going in. And how do we find out about it? Emmy Lupe. She called herself a spy The gameplay kind of reminded me of a rat. Rats can go far sometimes. I mean, we've seen it on Big Brother in recent years, especially. But yeah, when I was doing my preseason research on Emmy, one of the details on her like Survivor bio was that she was known for confronting people about rumors and potential lies. This is literally the definition of that. She just got some information and squealed immediately.
Oh God, unbiased, great television. Like the girl is literally cracked. There's no other way to say it. Like her confessional looks like the blue pigtails where she's like convulsing because she actually might be a legitimate demon. I don't know. Hilarious. I don't love that she's coming after, one of my girls. I love Michaela, but it makes sense if she's with Cory Lay, who's also a rookie. It might have gotten to her ear like they're going to throw in two rookies. She might be like, well, let me throw the target somewhere else. Maybe this is controlled chaos. If I were in a situation, I can't say that I wouldn't say, hey, here's what this person did. And Tori, she said she can't trust you at all.
And maybe it's another thing where, like, maybe Emmy had just seen all the, like, press from past seasons of the challenge where you just see, like, Tori, Anissa, you just see their faces a lot with all of this and be like, well, I would gravitate towards them as well. If you have no, like, background knowledge on it.
And Anissa, I would say Anissa was in power.
Yeah, and Emmy was given a little bit of a Remy from Ratatouille vibe, but
she was cooking delicious food.
No, just
it was quite literally a rat.
You're not giving that movie.
I don't know.
It's like we are not slandering the name of Remy the Rat in this episode today.
Oh, first of all, that's a historical film. I watched that the other day. Again, happy birthday, Christian. I'm so glad we watched that for your birthday. But still, I've tried so hard to root for Emmy, and I'm like,
yeah, great. I can step aside and say it's great television. I really can.
Yeah.
And will it pay off for her? Who knows? Like Allan said, like rats sometimes go far, but the issue with being a rat or like the problem being a rat, it often gets back to the person you ratted on. And I feel like that happened incredibly fast.
So fast. And I was like, is this just editing or am I seeing this all so fast? Or what's happening here?
And this is where we kind of got to cut in here because like what's evident in this episode is that, well, not evident, but there was a time skip that happened in this episode. During filming, someone contracted COVID. And after that first daily challenge, they had to go into a quarantine. When they came back from the quarantine, that's when, like, a whole week passed. That's when they did the voting, and then they did the elimination, which is why Nam is gone by that point in the game. And that's why at the deliberation we see it becomes a conversation of Michaela and Renan as the vote option versus Cory and Emmy versus Michelle and Nam. That is a big thing that happened. It's not even talked about. You don't see Nam in those scenes at all, and it just completely changed the game. And what I do want to say is that when all this information came out, she did not combat it in the best way possible for her game. Along with that, her Survivor compatriots, who they had planned to be aligned with together, they folded under the pressure. They scurried immediately, and the rookies just had no composure. They just started throwing each other under the bus, whereas the vets just stayed solid. I mean, the vets were in power, but there was no opposition.
Yeah, when Michaela walked up to a group of CT, Cory, Anissa, and Tori, I'm pretty sure it was, and literally just bombarded and said, there's not a list. It's a name of who's partnered with who. Like, so many other ways she could have been like, hey guys, like I've heard some stuff. Could we have a moment to chat? Like, so I could show you some things. But I mean, that's not why we love Michaela. We love Michaela from her shows on Survivor, where she is her. She's not going to apologize for it. And as far as Tommy and Michelle, the U.S. Survivor people, they don't know what she said in her confessionals, but she said on the car ride in on the casting special, like they think I'm their friend, but I'm not. I'll cut them off as quick as possible. And she did it pretty dang quick. I mean, she threw Michelle under the bus, and it goes back to what Allan said about, we didn't know how Michelle would translate onto the challenge. Oh, Michelle was quick to be cutthroat and be like, okay, Tommy, we're making our move. Like, she's got to go. And Tommy with Big T, like that was something. He told Big T, he's like, we're just gonna vote Michaela. Like, screw it. Like, I'm not about to get thrown out first or second or third because she wants to do this.
Yeah, fantastic gameplay on Michelle's parts.
Yes, I don't want to say fantastic though, because I really
I thought so.
no, and I agree. I think it is. I just go back and forth because I really would have loved for them to get together and be like, what is going on here? Like, we've got to find a different enemy. Like, let's make a list and make it look like it's Emmy's handwriting. That's a bad idea. I don't know. But they had time to think about this. They could have definitely came together and figured something else out.
Let's write it in Romanian.
So
right.
What you do in this situation, there's only one solution. There's only, and it might not even work. You campaign to all the other rookies and you tell them, we're voting in a vet team, and I, Michaela, and I, Renan, are volunteering for elimination. We will be the volunteers to go up against whatever veteran team they throw in. That is the only way you could even salvage something. That's the only, like, because in the situation they were in, everyone was already voting for them. They just started throwing each other under the bus. They tried to throw Michelle under the bus, tried to throw Emmy under the bus, but it was a lost cause at that point in the game. And I don't think that, I mean, you don't ever, your mind is just to avoid elimination, so you don't think of something like that, but that is the only option they could have had.
Yeah, I also just want to note how refreshing it is that we're not focusing on them getting any skulls.
Yes.
It's so nice.
Yeah, and also I want to point out too how refreshing it is. And I know that not everyone that watches the challenge watches Survivor or Big Brother per se, but a lot of people do. I find it really refreshing that these are rookies having beef that we're already invested in though because we're familiar with them. Like that was huge to me. And none of the Survivor US people are from the same season, but seeing them interact was just like a whole like, oh, like they live in the same world and they also live in the same world as challengers like Ashley, Anissa, CT. I don't know, it just, my stomach felt great.
Loved it.
And a little gameplay moment that I liked was Cory talking to Michelle, and she's like, so you won Survivor, right? And she's trying to like kind of play it off in the moment. It's like, yeah, I guess I did, like he's like, oh, so you're a real smart, strategic type person. And she's just like, come on, dude, don't blow my cover. I'm just here to vibe right now. I'm trying to eye-bang Emmanuel right now.
I heard you've never been voted off.
She's like, shut up.
Yeah.
He's like, that's gonna end the day.
And we'd be naive to think that Cory doesn't have some type of idea before coming in who these people he's going to play with. And like I've said on previous podcasts, he has made it clear he doesn't want to work with Survivor people. So it doesn't matter to him. He can throw her under the bus all day long.
I wonder if he's still going to have his luck from last season with his partners.
I hope not, because that was exhausting at like midway point.
Bro, I think my most viewed article of that season was ranking every single one of Cory's partners.
Oh boy.
I mean, it definitely transcended the whole season. Like that storyline was consistent, if anything.
Poor guy.
Yeah. I mean, he made the final. I mean, he got Cam in the end. That was pretty good. I mean, didn't get the win, but still. And then, of course, we get to the Elimination Arena itself, which is beautiful this season. The elevated steps, the little pyramid thing, it's beautiful. And TJ drops the bomb that you could pick any male and any female, and it'll be Anissa would pick the male for elimination, and Logan would pick the female. Anissa, she thinks to herself, well, Emmy and Cory had their little spat at deliberation with Michaela and Renan, which I gotta say, Renan didn't say anything up to this point of the he didn't say anything up to this point of this episode. Which Michaela was the star, but feels bad, man, when you're the first person voted into elimination and you don't say anything until the actual elimination itself. Feels bad.
Yeah. And honestly, like Renan, as a viewer, I'm like, boring, but Renan in that moment was probably just like, please shut up. I picked the wrong partner. Like, he even said, I wanted to fly under the radar, and that clearly didn't happen.
No. They're barely walking under the radar. Mm-mm.
So, Anissa picks Cory, and what I find hilarious about this is that in her preseason promo was like, "I'm so happy that we finally have a black gay male on the challenge to give representation," and then the first thing she does is vote him in. And I gotta say, a gay male, or at least a gay or bisexual male, has been voted into the first elimination they're eligible for on, I think, 11 out of 18 seasons, which is, a staggering fact. And people, it's not just like weak competitors; it's like strong people too.
Giving me Frenchie vibes.
Yeah, it just was weird that like Anissa wanted to vote in Cory and Emmy when she was under the assumption they'd be in pairs. Okay, now that they're not, you've had moments with this person. There are so many other rookie men that you could throw in. Why not him? Or why him, I should say. Yeah. I have speculation, but I'll say that for not this podcast. But it just was weird to me.
And then Logan, because she thought Logan was going to vote Emmy to stay with her, he goes completely rogue. He's like, "I like Emmy." And he throws in Michelle out of nowhere. And man, that was a curveball. And I just want to say, like, we're going to talk about Cory and Michelle versus Brennan and Michaela in the elimination portion. But on paper, if you have this choice, why not throw in like Huey and Casey? Why not like take your shot at Casey? Like, I don't know if you're ever going to have a better shot at Casey in the game when someone like Huey is there. Or if you want to get like a strong male, maybe give them a Tracy. And then, or like a mid-level male who could like stack up well with Brennan.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even consider that, but I'm also not in the game. Like, Anissa could have totally swayed that, but she's scared. And I would be too, but here's the thing. Anissa's not won a season ever. Anissa always falls up short, and it's because she does the same thing every season. At that point, who cares about the truce? You can try to make that back up later. Nani will be pissed, but like all the other girls in the house are going to thank you. Like, yeah, that's kind of genius, Allan.
Yeah, Allan should have won.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, man, you could like not this. Like, you couldn't take out CT this elimination because he would just outweigh Renan completely the same way that we saw, later. But like in a future elimination, put CT and Tracy in together. Put CT and Big T in together. I mean, like I apologize to Big T, I love her, but man, like that could be your shot to win the game if this elimination format stays true to the rest of the game. Some really interesting stuff could happen.
It's and it's so much better without the skulls.
Yes. Skulls bad.
Skulls bad.
Skulls breed boring. This is great.
Yeah. And that's our politics portion. We're about to move into the elimination portion. And now time to talk about the elimination. They were playing Backup Off Me, which is similar to the CT Bananas backpack game and to the elimination that Hunter and Nelson played on Dirty 30, except it was done in paired format. So your team combined weight was trying to take one team over the ledge and fall down a slope. Cory and Michelle versus Michaela and Renan. And what was very apparent was that Cory outweighed Renan by a massive amount, about like 40, 50 pounds. And so while Michaela had good size on Michelle and would have beat her in this elimination, and Michelle even said, like, yeah, Michaela's stronger than me, and people in the crowd are like, whoa, Renan got torn up in this elimination. For a guy that's a sex therapist, he seemed really lazy on his back and really lazy on his side.
And he was also in a harness. Let's keep that in mind. Yeah, like Allan said, Michelle, I love the awareness of like I could not have beat Michaela, but Cory really like even when his name was announced, he was shocked, but like you could just see in his face like I'm here to do one thing, and that's not be first boot. Um, it was so impressive, and Renan did say like I think my elbow popped out of socket, which we later see he's in a sling, but little things like that don't really matter if you've got this beast of a man that is Cory Lay. I mean, little things like Michelle don't matter when she's with a beast of a man like Cory Lay. Michaela put up a great fight. I can't say she didn't, but Cory
dominated this. I like forgot the other three people were there.
Somebody made the statement like, we saw CT with the backpack, but this is Cory with the backpack, the saddlebag, the fanny pack, and the handbag. And it's like, yeah.
Anissa.
Yeah. And I got to say,
full outfit.
One of the best moments of the episode, something I forgot to mention in the voting portion, is when Anissa votes in Cory. Cory just shakes his head like, this is such a dumb choice. Like, why are you like doing this? Like you talk, like you can see it in his head. Like you talk about LGBT representation. Why are you throwing me in? It's like you pick anyone. Like I'm not Emmy. And he shakes his head, and then Anissa, in reaction, like she like shrugs her shoulders and gives a reaction face too that was just on par and was hilarious.
But if anything, like given the results of the elimination, Anissa did Cory a favor.
Oh yeah, everyone's gonna respect him way more now. And I gotta say, in the elimination itself, very key is that Cory was the only person who was grabbing the rails, grabbing the little parts of the stage they were on to give himself leverage, and no one else was doing that in the elimination. Yeah. You could tell he's a challenge fan because he was playing with challenge strategies.
I'm like yelling at the screen as I'm watching. I'm like, do something. What are you doing? A lot of them were just like, oh, I'll just kick a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, Cory was impressive. And I mean, just based on how we're talking, it's pretty clear like Cory and Michelle win through Cory alone. Amazing win for Cory and Michelle. So happy for them. But like, if you're a Survivor fan, you lost either way. Like you have Michelle who, is endearing and people love. She's a winner. And, we saw her struggles on both of her seasons of not being taken seriously. And we want to see her finally on a show be appreciated. But then you have Michaela, who's also done 2 seasons and who's been screwed over and has been loyal, has been fiery, and has just been like such a badass, like comp threat, mental game person. And, she's gone now and I hate it.
I think she'll be back.
I'm hopeful.
And she was like in her confessional, the way she was treated in this episode was not like someone who isn't going to come back to the challenge. She was treated very much as someone like, hey guys, like we're going to give you as much Michaela as you can this episode because she's going to be on next season and she's going to be a staple going forward, which I'm very thankful for. And even though Cory beasted this elimination, and I think he's awesome. Michelle held her own. Michelle did a really good job.
Yeah.
It was a really good team win. Cory was obviously the MVP, but they did well as a team. And Renan, well, goodbye, man. You're gone. You're done from the series. You were edited to be someone who we see once and then never again.
Yeah,
he got Tracy'd.
Literally, and Tracy's still there. If he would have stayed and had sex with someone, like, yeah, he probably could have like done something else. But have fun.
After the elimination, TJ reveals the elephant in the room, and that is Nam is no longer there. He brings in Nam's replacement, who is Ed Easton from the Circle US, and everyone goes crazy. I think my favorite reaction is Nelson looks hyped, and in my mind, I thought Nelson thought it was Hunter, based on the height and the muscles, and obviously Hunter doesn't have that type of hair, though.
Obviously, yeah.
Hunter has hair?
Hardly, of course. I like that we got another U.S. rookie. Like, I'm always complaining, forgive me, but like, I also know Ed from a season. He did it with his mom. But I like familiar faces. The only thing that struck me as odd was he was an American player replacing an international player. And I know that there was another international player in quarantine, but I think he fit the like Huey archetype to an extent. So they didn't want to do that. But yeah, I was glad to see him, but it was weird to see just how short he is, because Allan mentioned previously, like Nelson's 5'7", 5'8", maybe 5'9" on a good day. Ed's like shorter than he is. So he's a tiny dude.
Yeah, both Ed and Hunter are guys that are who are listed at 5'8", but they look 5'6", maybe even 5'5". Ed was a college athlete, track and field, went to Cornell University, like Andy Bernard, engineer. So in theory, athlete plus brains, that's a strong player. I like that they added him, but I just thought the crowd reaction to someone we didn't know or weren't supposed to know was really funny.
My only thought on this was that like he definitely flew to location with a lot of them, and they were like, "Oh, he's a cool dude," and we're bummed that he didn't make the final cast, and they're like, "Oh, he's back."
Yeah, because it gave me very much like everybody was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "This guy." Okay.
They should have had a graphic over his head as he was running in that said Ed.
Yeah.
I know. TJ was like, "And here's Agent Ed." It was just like so anticlimactic.
And here's Ed.
But I mean, it is like a little good surprise to have at the end of the episode, even if we didn't really know what we were getting. It was like, finding a $20 gift card from Target after you're done opening all your presents. Like, I love Target. That's.
Oh, I'm American. I still have Target.
Is Target not exist in Canada?
No, it went bankrupt.
Wow.
Within like a year.
Wow, there are lots of Targets here thriving. I live in Target Central.
Good thing Ed's an American, not a Canadian.
Yeah.
Who learns?
And after the elimination, TJ reveals a twist that Michelle and Cory get to change their partners. They will infiltrate for obvious reasons. Michelle's like, yeah, we're definitely switching up. Michelle looks into the crowd, and one person raises their hand. It's Devin. And wanna know why he raised his hand? It's because of the person standing below him, and that's Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to shake her shoulders, as did Nani, Big T, and one other person in the episode. So that was so dumb. Michelle, she's watched this show before. Like, she's not coming into this blindly. Pick CT. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like, pick CT. It's that simple to me.
Why wouldn't you pick him?
And she said too, like, me and Devin have a lot of the same strengths, like with puzzles, and like we like to politic. That's great, but that's not who you need as a partner, because you're going to be missing the other components. Pick CT. He has all the components. Pick CT.
I will say though, like when you see that field of veterans, if someone raises their hand, I would go with them too, because it makes you feel wanted. And also, Devin has a lot of social connections with people like Amanda, Ashley, CT, and Kyle. And he was close with Nan beforehand. So just that openness, that reception, I think it is a good thing. And while CT is obviously the best partner you could have, as we can see in this game, not all these, partnerships are permanent. At least with Devin, if you can't, sometimes you put the idea of like, hey, we'll put a strong physical person with someone who's strong mentally, and they'll complement each other. But the opposite could happen sometimes, where the strong mental person has to do something physical, and the other person has to do something mental, and you just both go down together. Whereas with Devin, they just double down on their strengths, and if they get something mental, they're going to dominate.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't considered any of that, and that's why you write the articles, and I just voice my opinion. But you're right. I can totally. Go ahead, Nikki.
Sorry, I was just gonna say. I think also it was Michelle was like, okay, focus on the game, not boys. But also she was like, I'm gonna pick someone based on not brawn. And I'm like, oh, honey. Yeah.
Maybe she just felt close after he threw his sock at her face and probably like raised it. Yeah.
Oh man, Luke.
Imagine the smell.
But yeah, I'll be honest. That mindset of thinking only hit me when I saw Final Reckoning and Shane and Nelson, where I was like, oh yeah, they complement each other's strengths and weaknesses so well, and they didn't win a single daily challenge because they just brought each other down in so many cases.
They
Yeah,
didn't win a single thing. They were
I
the
mean,
worst team.
well, no, they won some elimination. They won some clutch eliminations, including the one against Brad and Kyle. But yeah, they're it just that idea of complementary players can sometimes go the exact other way in devastating effect. Cory,
He chooses Tori.
Tory, which is a smart pick, so because they have rhyming names.
Cory. Oh, it's the same as last season. When
Yeah,
Cory Wharton chose Tori. Now
and
Cory Lay.
it's a decent partnership. They had their little interaction on episode 0, but more than anything, Kells is devastated. He is pissed off because he realizes, oh man, I got Tracy.
Yeah. I want to touch on him picking Tori just one more time. Like, I think it's also incredibly smart because he knows that Anissa's closest ally is Tori. And he might be thinking in this moment, have I done something to piss Anissa off to the point where she'd throw me in? Like, let me get back in her good graces because, like, I don't want to be thrown back into this. And then it comes to Kels. I'd be pissed too. Like, he made a really good selection by coming in a great place, like, the first day. And now he's with the pole. Sorry.
So she's just the pole now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team where you throw them in together or you hope they come in last place. I feel bad for, I mean, I'm sorry, Tracy. No. I don't know. But yeah, it's a tough look.
I don't know her personally, so I'm not sorry.
And I think we can say that Tracy's not here because she thinks she can win. She's here for exposure.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I mean, Allan said in the preseason podcast, like the cast breakdown, she's recently moved to California, Los Angeles specifically, to pursue the life of a model and influencer. Like, this is a stepping stone for her.
Her and Gabo can just do whatever it is they want to do.
In theory, Kel splitting up could be a good thing because he has the existing relationship with Tori, and if they continue to flirt, then it's just spreading their numbers across multiple pairings, which, can work really well, as we saw with, I'm not going to compare them to Cam and Leroy, but Cam and Leroy understood the importance of having separate votes, on separate teams, because then you could spread the wealth. I'm not comparing them at all, but they understood that sometimes if you're like hooking up, it's not the best idea to be in the same pairing. Emmy as a partner, who does she get to end the episode? She got Agent Ed. Ed and Emmy, 5-letter team combined. Ademi.
Ed and Emmy.
She's the same height as him, it looked like, and that could be compatible.
If not 3 inches taller. Like, but you're right. Like, they're both. Well, he's short. She's. Yeah. But yeah, I honestly like. Ed is ripped. Like, he's short, but he's ripped. So I think they could be good together.
We could see this shape up to be something good. I don't know. Emmy, I feel like Emmy's going to bring more drama. Like, this wasn't her, like, only episode. I feel like she's not going to, like, sit back and be quiet the rest of the time. Ed has no idea what he's getting. Sorry, Agent Ed has no idea what he's getting into here.
It'd be funny if we, like, just call everyone by their names and it's like, Agent Ed. Just that one guy, but
Agent Ed, the pole, the unholy trinity. We got a lot of things going on here.
Yeah, we're also like 90 minutes into the episode at this point, but we had fun. We had a good episode. I hope the viewers enjoyed this episode because we're gonna come back next week with a more efficient episode, more likely. If it is a long episode, then the show was good, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter at the Nikki Sin, at Final Reckoning, at the Allan Aguirre, on YouTube at Caffeine Confessionals, Spotify, iTunes, Caffeine Confessionals. Give us 5 stars on iTunes if you can. We really appreciate it. And just watch our plethora of other videos. I just found out recently from a friend that her boyfriend watches our videos, and it's awesome. It's like someone I didn't even know. It's just good stuff all around. So much good content, podcasts, videos, etc., etc. Have a great day.